Vanished. The Draconian kidnappers have completely disappeared.
Welcome to the Minute Doctor Who podcast. Now, the reason for this episode is, I'm sure you're aware of the sad death in recent weeks of Barry Letts, and this is my particular tribute to him, in typical Minute Doctor Who podcast fashion, and I'm going to use CSO, the technique that Barry pioneered when he worked on Doctor Who. And using it, I'm going to conduct the following interview with Ivan. So Ivan, what was your favourite Barry Letts story?
Oh, that's quite a difficult one, because I've come from the wrong perspective, having only become a fan in the last maybe sort of 6-7 years. It's quite difficult to say. I suppose The Green Death, I really enjoyed that one, and having learned a bit more about it, I find it really interesting how he's put his own beliefs and perspectives into that one. And obviously it's quite important for the history of Doctor Who and how the whole thing's progressed, and I think that one really sort of shows his creativity and his ambition as well with the massive maggots, and I don't know, I really enjoy that one. I suppose also it's worth mentioning his first directing job on the show, Enemy of the World, and the fact that Patrick Troughton plays the goody and also the villain as well is really interesting and again ambitious. Sometimes they're both at the end they're both in the same scene, and so I think he's the whole way through he's had this vision, and he's worked on the real boundaries of what's sort of done on TV, and I think that's something fantastic about him.
So what is his biggest contribution to Doctor Who and TV history as a whole?
I suppose during his time on Doctor Who, he managed to keep it appealing to the masses and also appealing to the family. So with all the time when he was with UNIT on Earth, it was much more accessible than, say, when you get later and everything's harking back to previous episodes and everything's very internal. And at the time it was, he introduced lots and lots of villains, lots of new characters, and I think he really made it watchable for anybody, and so you could tune in whenever you wanted and watch whatever you liked, and I think that's really interesting. Also, obviously, he cast Tom Baker, which is a massive thing, and Elizabeth Sladen as well, so I think those are probably his largest contributions to the show.
Cool, well, thank you very much, Ivan. So there you have the wonders of green screens we have today, pioneered by Barry Letts. And also, I'd just like to draw your attention to the fact that I currently have a lot less face fuzz than I did in my last podcast or so. And the reason for that is that I've shaved it off, obviously, in preparation for Movember. And if you're not aware of this tradition, I don't know where it originally comes from, but I'm doing it on behalf of prostate cancer charity. Obviously, it's quite opposite as well that Barry Letts died from cancer. I'm not exactly sure what cancer that was. Don't know whether that's been publicised. But prostate cancer is something that affects a lot of men, which is something we don't really like to talk about, unsurprisingly. But I'm growing a moustache, making myself look very silly during November, to raise awareness and to raise money for prostate cancer charity. So if you're interested in getting involved with that, maybe growing your own tash or sponsoring me, and there'll be a link in the show notes that you can follow and get involved. Anyway, all it remains to say is thank you very much, Barry Letts, for the wonderful stories, the wonderful Jon Pertwee era that you gave us, and everything else that you've done for the show, the DVD range, etc., etc. And we're grateful to you for the part you played in our wonderful show. So there you are. Next time, I'll take you to